What's up? It's your boy Reemus. This one's for the fellas. This is like divine game right here because we're going to be speaking about how to prevent your girl from following feminist ideologies that are poisonous to your relationship. Again, if you're in the Western culture, this is going to be very important because practically every person who lives on these lands and in these shores are going to be susceptible to this programming of society. And this is especially the case for your woman because she's growing up for decades and years and she being pumped with certain beliefs, and embedded in those beliefs are the poison to your relationship, the things that are going to make your relationship fail, not work. It goes totally against, what is necessary for a successful relationship. So we're gonna deep dive into it. So we'll start by saying this, right? Society has a certain agenda. So society does not want healthy relationships. They do not want divine partnerships and so on. They do not want us living according to God's law, divine nature. They do not want men to uphold the role of a man and women to uphold the role of a woman. That's not on the agenda. In fact, we already know this because they're swapping everything around, adding confusion on. So we can safely say that if you follow along the agenda of the system, I can almost bet that you're not going to have a good time in your relationship unless there is confusion in your own body. So if you're confused yourself and then you follow the confusion out there, maybe it's actually okay because you're in alignment. However, if you are not confused, if you're a woman who's in touch with your femininity and a man who's in touch with your masculinity, then the programming and the agenda of society is it's basically made you doomed to be miserable because, again, it isn't aligned with nature. So you have to understand that her mind is programmed by these things because the mind is like a computer and you can be programmed. But the thing is, even though I said, it's unhealthy, blah, 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 the system has a great masterful way in getting people to accept it. So again, this has been brewing for like 100 years. You don't have the firepower and the history to even come up against it in the ways that you would want to. So you have to first humble yourself and realize that her mind is programmed by the agenda, but the system was great at getting her to accept it because she's born into a world where it's an issue, like she's already being pumped with it from the beginning, long before you even met her. So let's say when we talk about the feminist ideology, one of the reasons why women are very quick to listen to it and think it's for them is because it literally sounds like it is. It says feminism. So the fem makes you think, okay, this is for females, even though it's not. It's actually directly against femininity. But she doesn't hear that bit. She just understands, well, as a female, this is something for me because I relate to it. So it sounds good for her and she's going to allow the programming to go in. Really, she's just being manipulated, but she doesn't actually know it. So society is, and this programming, this ideology is not aligned with nature. And it's not aligned with her nature. So deep down, the reason why it will make her miserable is because her nature is designed in another way. And her nature is going to be fulfilled, turned on, feel polarity, be attracted to you in ways that are linked to nature rather than what society says they should be drawn to. This is the reason why a woman will say she wants a nice guy, but then she doesn't get with a nice guy, is because she's being told mentally that she's supposed to, but physically her body, her DNA is not programmed to be with that sort of guy. So if you want to, get her mind to be in line with the body, you must first accept this, right? Her body and mind is actually disconnected because we live in a culture of manipulation where the system is taking advantage of her susceptibility. So what's happening is people are living in one reality up here and then they're living in another reality in their spirit and in the physical. So actually, in her mind, she sees the world in a certain way, and the mind has the capacity to do that. It's also think of it like virtual reality. Like people are playing a video game literally in their mind, but in actual physical reality, real life reality, it's living in another way. So you could say to a girl, for example, should a guy lead? And she might say no, because in her head, she's been programmed to go against it, but in her body, she's attracted to that guy. So a lot of the time you will see feminists are the one who are most attracted to hardcore men a lot of the time, because there's such a big disconnect from their head, their mind, and their body, that their spirit has an even stronger need for that sort of guy, because she's not satisfying it at all with her mind. So you want to slowly remove and dissolve. That's a great word. You want to dissolve. You don't want to break her away. You can't do that. You want to slowly dissolve her attachment to her mental programming, because there's safety in that mental programming for her. This is the reason why she, allows herself to be manipulated, because it still does achieve certain egoic and emotional imperatives, right, that she has, certain purposes. So let's say she wants to be a strong, confident woman. She likes hearing that statement. So then she follows along with what comes underneath the label. You need to slowly dissolve her attachment to that label and other labels over time by giving her the right information, showing her you're on her side. The next big thing is you want to encourage her nature by offering another program. So if she is the type of woman who says, yeah, I'm a powerful woman, you can offer her another perspective on how she's even more powerful by going with nature's way rather than society's way. And in the end, this is to her benefit. This is kind of the reason why a lot of red pill content preachers actually fuel her attachment to the mental programming, because they don't offer another stronger perspective for her. They don't offer a more powerful way for her to look at it. They don't give her another role that she can slot into, which will make her feel powerful. They kind of leave it up to the woman to find out how she can be powerful in the other perspective, which is more natural. But for a lot of women, that's not going to be the case until they've gone through hard times, until they've seen how following feminist ideologies are dangerous for them. So for many women, that's why you see they wait until they're late, in their 30s or 40s or 50s, when literally they have the hardcore evidence that now they're not feeling powerful because of they followed feminism. And then the barrier or the standard that is required for her to feel more powerful in nature's way, it's much more lower than it was before. So she naturally will just come to her senses and be like, this, wasn't for me. They said I don't need a man. Actually, I do want a man. And because they're in a state of misery at that point, they're okay doing it, right? Their emotions are low, so the emotional needs that they have aren't high to, go on the other side. But when she's younger, her emotions are high in feminist ideology. So what's required to have her jump the fence is much more higher. And red pill content preachers don't really encourage that. They actually don't realize that they make it the natural way seem like the worst way for her, when you understand and consider her ego and her agenda. So you have to be wary of how you're communicating this message, because are you empowering them? Are you empowering your girl when you are trying to prevent her from following feminism? Or are you actually making her feel less than, and how much she's not powerful and so on? So if you're good at this, you're still going to have to wait some time. I want you to be patient as you see her reconnecting to nature, because that's basically what is happening. And over time, you slowly dissolve and chip away and bring her into the new programming, which is actually better for her because it's aligned with God and nature. But anyway, I want to know what you think, right? This is quite deep stuff, and I would prefer to go more in depth into this stuff in more like a video series or like a paid program, or something exclusive. But it's just something to make you think. But anyway, comment down below, let Reemus know, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.